Hello everybody, this is Paul Alster here with you at Sportsbet TV as I look ahead now to the action scheduled in Britain on Saturday, the 26th of February, where I have picked out some 4 selections for you as we continue our closing in on the Cheltenham Festival coming up in just a few weeks' time now. And towards the end of this bulletin, I'll also be offering you my second horse for your consideration for the Cheltenham Festival. An interesting runner, I think, one worth waiting for. Well, last week, our selections sank in the mud at different parts of the country. It was up, Haydock was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was barely raceable there. But old Regal Encore, he did run very well and was even trading at 4 to 6 between the final 2 fences at Ascot before just getting tired. He ran a marvellous old race, the Old Warrior, but it wasn't a great time of things last weekend. The previous week, of course, we had that amazing 230 to 1 double. But just before I come to my selections, of course, everything is in perspective. There've been some horrific events going on around the world in the last few days. And I just want to say, because I know people watch this from all over the world, and in particular, what's going on in the Ukraine is of particular concern to me, because for a number of years I had a business there developing software for the racing media, and my staff of 20 were based in Kiev. They're still there, and the situation is very difficult. Also, I took time out from working in racing for a number of years and became a news journalist covering the Middle East and other areas, but also I covered the aftermath of what happened in 2014 and was in Independence Square on the first anniversary of the 2014 happenings, interviewing people for a number of major international news organizations. And to see what's going on there really is quite troubling and shocking, and it puts everything else into perspective. But it's very good that we're able to have a break from all the terrible news going on around us and focus on something a little bit more optimistic and enjoyable like the racing. But my thoughts are with all my friends out there in Ukraine, and I hope you all stay safe. And I know some of you do watch the bulletins, having learned something about racing from me in previous years. So stay well and stay safe, everybody, please. I'm going to move on now to my 4 choices for this weekend at Chepstow, Newcastle and at Kempton Park. And my first is at Chepstow in the 143. And it is a novice's handicap chase over best part of 2.5 miles. Heavy ground there, and there are 10 runners. I'm recording this bulletin, by the way, very early on Friday morning this time. So a lot of the odds that I'll suggest will be subject to change. So do remember to check out all the odds comparison sites and keep an eye on the way the markets are moving. They're surely going to move plenty before the races are run. So in the 143, we've got a forecast favourite for the very much informed Kim Bailey, which is Lady of the Night, forecast around 7 to 4. She handles the ground really well. Was second at Wetherby last time out, my local track, and has gone up £3 there, and should be thereabouts, I think, no doubt about it. Kaylee Woolacott has a horse called Enorm Mouse, who won over course and distance last time out and has gone up £6. Should go pretty well, I would say. And a big price one in this 143 at Chepstow is one of Gary Moore's called Black Jerry, an unexposed horse who's only having its second run over fences and is sure to be better for a recent run after a very long absence of 22 months, for which it's been dropped £5. So a market move for Gary Moore's runner would be worth noting. There's also Martin Keithley, an informed trainer. He's got Found On, who drops back in trip after a slightly disappointing time of things last time out, but I will be concerned about his ability to handle the very heavy ground. So my choice here is a horse called Tile Tapper, trained by the former jockey Chris Honor and the mount of the £3 conditional rider, Brian Carver. Now, Tile Tapper is a winner of a bumper in 2020 on soft ground, and was a very progressive and promising hurdler last season. Its runs included finishing third in the Grade 1 Tolworth Hurdle to Metier on heavy ground at Sandown Park in January of last year. And it made a promising, really promising chasing debut at Exeter in December, running well for a long way and only fading at the second last, eventually finishing fourth to the subsequently high-class L'Empressé, who of course is a horse who a lot of the Brits are hoping is going to be flying the flag for us at the Cheltenham Festival in the big novice chase. He's gone on to subsequently win a Grade 2 and a Grade 1. So that effort from Tile Tapper, first time over fences, was an absolute cracker. But he didn't run well at Lingfield a month ago, was beaten very early. It was too bad to be true, and it later transpired that the horse had burst a blood vessel. So he had a very good excuse for not feeling up to it. He's been dropped £3 as well since that disappointment. Now, I'm quite sure that Chris Honor wouldn't be running the horse if he felt that there was a strong likelihood he would burst blood vessels. Of course, you can never know once a horse has burst if it's going to happen again. But on his previous form, that tremendous run against L'Empressé, I think he's worth a chance. And at the early price, the only ones up early, as usual, are William Hill, who are testing the market. They're betting, by the way, early on to 124%, which says to you that the prices are going to get bigger for a number of the horses. And 7 to 1 is the offer. So each way is the guide price. 7 to 1 each way for Tile Tapper for Chris Honor and Brian Carver at Chepstow in the 143. And then I'm going to take you up north to Newcastle, to Gosforth Park, where I've spent many a day working and enjoying my racing. Newcastle 315 is the famous Ida Chase. It is over 4 miles, 1 furlong, and there are 17 runners setting out on the soft ground. Quite how many are going to finish in these conditions remains to be seen. And an indication of how open the race is at the time of this recording, Friday morning, they're betting 6 to 1 the field, and that tells you all you need to know. In other words, you pay your money and you take your chance. Now, there's an Irish raider in this race, Peter Farr's History of Fashion, who won at Down Royal last time out, has to be respected. And you've also got the horse that recently won the Classic Chase at Warwick, Eclair Surf, who is trained by Emma Lavelle and has gone up £10 for that win. Was impressive, but that's one of the other market leaders. Now, there are loads of horses you can make a case for, but a few on my shortlist when I was coming to a conclusion included Nigel Twiston Davis's Check It Out, who won at Fontwell last time out over just about 3.5 miles. He's only gone up £2, and they popped the cheek pieces on him for the first time. And the old boy, the veteran Lakeview Lad for Norman Alexander, he's down to a very tempting handicap mark. Obviously not quite the force of old, but he ran well last season, went 7th in the Scottish National, and there's been glimpses as well this season, including behind Black Lion, that suggests he still retains quite a lot of ability. But in the end, my choice here in the Ida is a horse called Cash to Ash for Mark Walford and Jamie Hamilton. Small stable and a jockey who doesn't get so many chances in the showcase races. So a chance for them, hopefully, to shine and shine at a decent price as well. Well, he won at Ayr in heavy ground over 3 miles in March of last year. And this season, he's been knocking on the door, rattling the crossbar, whatever you want to call it, 4 times, finishing second consecutively in his 4 runs this season, including to Big River, who's a good staying chaser in a 4-mile race at Kelso, the Borders National, where he kept on well. And then at the Christmas meeting at Market Rasen, he was second in the Lincolnshire National over a long trip there. He was second again last time out to the informed Big River, who's been making hay this winter. That was over 3 miles, which, to be honest, is an insufficient test for Cash to Ash. Now, he's running off the same mark as his last run at Kelso, and I think he deserves a win. We know he'll stay. We know he's been holding his form really well. He handles very testing ground. And he's got a nice racing weight as well of 10 stone 7. And that's a good racing weight for a long distance handicap. And I think that to see him winning for a small yard would be a tremendous moment for them. It would be their biggest ever win. But Mark Walford is capable of preparing one. And I think Cash to Ash really does have a proper each way chance. Now, at the time of the recording on Friday morning, 16 to 1 is available each way for 5 places, note, with the likes of Paddy Power and Betfair, essentially the same firm. Betfred Boyle Sports and Betway, among others. So 16-1 each way is my suggestion for Cash to Ash to end a frustrating run of placed efforts with a win, a valuable win in the Eider Chase at Newcastle, Saturday at 3:15. Now, my final two selections Saturday are both at Kempton Park, where there's much better ground, so we should see them finishing off their races quite nicely. Kempton always drains pretty well, really. And the 3:37 is the Coral Trophy Handicap Chase, the race that most of you will probably remember it best as the Racing Post Chase, one of the big midwinter chases. 3 miles the trip, 14 runners, good to soft ground. Now, there's a lot of Williamses in this race, and most of them have got a bit of a chance. And to the head of the market, you've got Evan Williams, who has his Ascot listed handicap chase winner from December. And he's sure to go really well. He beat Phoenix Way and Check It Out, who are both ranked the Form 6 and has gone up £6. So that horse would certainly be of interest. Now, Christian Williams, he's got the December course and distance winner 5-star Getaway, who's been a fair third at Sandown since. And he's got Cap de Nord, who was third in the listed Sky Bet Chase at Doncaster last time, both really good races. He's also got Kitty's Lamp, who of course nearly won the Old Whitbread Gold Cup last season in that desperate finish down at Sandown Park, but hasn't been in the same form this term. You've also got Nick Williams. He's got a horse with a chance called Galahad Quest, who was a good second last time out. That was over 2.5 miles, though, at Cheltenham. He's never really tried the 3 miles, but I suppose if you're going to get it anywhere on a half-decent surface, Kempton's is as good a place as anywhere to start, but I would be worried about his stamina holding out. The aforementioned Phoenix Way for Harry Fry won a really good handicap chase at Ascot last time out, has gone up £6. And Nigel Twiston-Davis's good boy Bobby has had 2 really good victories at Wetherby this season, including the Grade 3 Roland Merrick chase last time out. All in all, he's gone up £12. So you'd have to think that this is probably a tough task. My vote goes, though, in this red-hot handicap chase to the Big Breakaway, trained by Colin Tizard and the mount of Brendan Powell, and regular followers of this channel. And by the way, if you're new to the service, do remember to press the subscribe button that is just below this screen. But regular followers will recall that I tipped the horse only 2 weeks ago when he ran back over hurdles for the first time in a long while, and he ran a blinder, eventually finishing promoted into 3rd place. He was a very, very close 4th past the post, but promoted to 3rd. And that was down at Newbury, just beaten 1.5 lengths. And I'll be honest, he jumped like a chaser all the way around. He kept ballooning them and losing a little bit of momentum in the air. But he did run very well, and that was his first run after a wind operation, so it showed his breathing appears to be fine now. Well, that run will have blown any cobwebs away. He should be spot on. And remember that he's run well at this track in the past. Take yourself back 14 months to the Cato Star Grade 1 Novice Chase at Kempton's Christmas meeting of 2020, and he was a very good second there in a red-hot renewal. And then he finished 3rd at the Cheltenham Festival in Grade 1 Novice Chase Company to the mighty Monkfish. That is outstanding form in the context of this race. He's got his share of weight, which is fair enough, but his mark of 147, in my eyes, looks fair. Now, also, Colin Tizard has decided to pop the cheek pieces on him for the first time, just to keep him interested. He did seem to run a little bit lazily at Newbury, so that seems a good move. And the other point to bear in mind is that Colin has a really good recent record in this race. He's won it twice in the last 6 years, with Theatre Guide popping up in 2016. And then 2 years ago, he won it with good old Mr. Malarkey in the 2020 renewal. Well, when I originally wrote my notes early this morning, 8-1 was the best price on offer with Bet365, but that's gone. The best price is now 15-2 each way, and that is for 5 places offered with Betfred. But there are a host of others offering 4 places, depending on who you might have an account with. Paddy Power, Betfair, Coral, BetVictor, Boyle Sports, Ladbroke, Sporting Index, Betway, etc., 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 as he said in The King and I. So the Big Breakaway is the choice. 15-2 to win the Coral Trophy Handicap Chase at Kempton, 337. And then my final choice, also back at Kempton in the following race, is the 410. Nicely contested 2 mile 5 furlong handicap hurdle, 11 run on the forecast good to soft ground. And it's another wide open betting race, 9-2 the field. That is with the only firm up early, good old William Hills. And they make half a piece favourite for the very shrewd Pam Sly. This horse placed well to win 2 from 3 this term, up a total of £9. Both wins going left-handed at Wetherby, but it has won at Kempton in the past, albeit in a bumper. Now, Tom Lacey, of course, provided us with a great winner a few weeks ago with Fortune and Glory at 20-1 down at Newbury. And he has Flashing Glance, who scrambled home in a Hereford race last time out, only gone up £2. The yard's still going very well. Wouldn't surprise me to see Flashing Glance run another big race. And you've got the Huntingdon winner, Storm Dennis, who's gone up £3 for a 5-length success. This is only his second start in a handicap for Chris Gordon. So I think he's another to consider. Now, Paul Nichols is always to be feared. He's got a horse called Dodgiani, a horse who may well have failed to run his race last time out at Ascot. Something went wrong. But he previously won a couple of races towards the end of last season at Sedgefield and had been second at Taunton in November. And if he bounces back, he's one to fear. But the horse I like here is a horse called Herbier, or is it Herbier, for Oliver Greenall and Paddy Brennan, good old Paddy Brennan of Q-Card fame, amongst others. Well, this Herbier has won 3 of his last 5. He's a very progressive horse, and he's being handled really well by Oliver Greenall. His latest win was an 8.5-length success up at Doncaster on Town Moor over 2.5 miles, for which he's gone up £7. Now, the significant thing there was that it was his first attempt beyond 2 miles, and he seemed to really sprout wings in the closing stages and enjoyed the longer trip. So I'm very confident this 2 miles 5 is going to be nicely within his compass. He, of course, had run some very good races last season, including winning the big novices handicap hurdle final at Sandown over 2 miles. And I think that now they've seen that he stays, the options have opened up for him. And he actually has a few entries at the Cheltenham Festival over this trip. He's in the Coral Cup and he's in the Martin Pipe conditional jockeys, for which he's 50-1. Whether he'll get in them, whether they go there, I don't know. But obviously a big run here would see his odds contract somewhat. The early price, Hill's guide price, may well prove to go a little bit bigger, but maybe others will believe, as I do, he's got a big chance. It's 6-1 offered each way for Herbier in the 410 at Kempton. And as I say, a big run could see him turning up at Cheltenham in a few weeks' time. So those are my 4 selections for this weekend. Now, as with last week, I just wanted to give you a thought about the Cheltenham Festival. Of course, everybody's looking for horses to back. I'm a little reluctant to put anything up definitively, but I'm just giving you a horse to maybe take a look at and decide for yourself if, like me, you think he potentially could run a very big race. So here's my Cheltenham Festival thought for this weekend. And the horse in question is called Ain't That a Shame? And is a horse trained by Henry de Bromhead, is likely to be ridden by Rachel Blackmore, a horse who cost €110,000 at public auction. And he's only had 6 runs and only 3 of them over fences. He is entered in 2 races at the Cheltenham Festival. On the Tuesday, he's currently a 20-1 shot for the Ultima Handicap Chase over 3 miles 1. And then on the Thursday of the festival, he's a best priced, as far as I can see, 14-1 for the Fulk Warwing Kim Muir Handicap Chase over 3.25 miles. Now, this is a horse who won last season over hurdles. You can probably see him on screen here. He won in really good style over hurdles, and he's got a bit of class about him. And he's already taken to fences, and his run at Leopardstown was particularly commendable. That was in December, where he finished second to the outstanding prospect Galopin d'Archamps, who is a red-hot favourite for a couple of races at the festival. Wherever he goes, he's almost even money, I think. And he's a bit of an Irish banker for the festival. Now, Ain't That a Shame ran well for a long way, but in the end, he couldn't lay a glove on Galopin Des Champs. He's not in the same league. Horse who could potentially be a Gold Cup horse of the future. But the form of the race has worked out well. He actually got to within about 8 lengths of him going down towards the between the final 2 fences, but he couldn't quicken with him, and jockey didn't knock him about once. He was never going to catch Galopin Des Champs. But the third horse in that race, Fleur, won the next time, and then he finished third in the Punchestown Grand National Trial, which was a really good race. And the fourth horse, Blue Sari, who finished 18 lengths behind Ain't That a Shame, has subsequently gone on to produce plenty of very good form, winning really well last time out. And Willie Mullins have spoken of Blue Sari as one of his horses he's targeting for a Grade 1 at Fairyhouse in April. So that suggests the form of that Leopardstown race in December, in which Ain't That a Shame was second to Galopin Des Champs, really is very, very hot. Now, since then, he's run at Navan, and I was actually on him that day, so it's a bit of a hard one to talk about because he travelled like the best horse in the race all the way through, on the bridle 3 out, travelling well. And then I think he just idled in the closing stages, having been in front probably plenty early enough, and he got caught in the very last stride by Champagne Platinum, who's no mug, but I think he just is a horse who needs a good, strong gallop and maybe covering up and coming there much later than was the case at Navan. But Champagne Platinum has since franked the form by going on to finish second in the Grand National Trial at Punchestown. So given that he's likely to be in a big field in one of the big staying handicaps at Cheltenham, that he'll be able to be produced much later, and I'm sure that is going to help his cause. I do think that Ain't That a Shame has got a big chance. And I looked it up to see what handicap mark he's been given, because he's never run in a handicap. And he's been given 137 by the Irish handicapper. And I think that's a very workable mark. It'll be interesting to see what mark he's given for Cheltenham. But that's my horse for you to take a look at. Ain't That a Shame, entered in the Ultima Handicap Chase on the Tuesday of the festival meeting, and in the Fulk Warwin on the Thursday. Obviously, as we get much closer, we'll get a much clearer picture about what's going to run, and I will be giving my definitive selections for each of the 4 days of Cheltenham. So do remember to make a note to join me on the Monday for Tuesday, Tuesday for Wednesday, Wednesday for Thursday, and Thursday, of course, for Gold Cup, Friday of the Cheltenham Festival. But that's it for this week. Thanks very much for joining me. Let's hope they run well. Whatever happens, nice to take our mind off everything and enjoy a bit of racing Saturday afternoon. I'll be back same time next week. From me, Paul Alster at Sportsbet TV. Bye-bye for now. Take care.